Well, good day, tubers. It's Saturday, sitting at home, watching it rain. Not raining as hard as I'd like, but I guess a little rain is better than none. But thought I'd jump on the little bandwagon for the flint tools for Alabama Headhunter. It's one of his favorite sayings has always been stone tools are forever. But I thought I'd show some of the hafted points first. This is a Hopewell point that I dug up in an overhang. Most likely was a much bigger point at one time. Broke, and I hafted it over. And then here's a rice lobe. That was probably once come to a full point, and they hafted it over. Turned it into a blunt or a hafted scraper. I used to have some Etley ones that were pretty nice, and a couple other woodland varieties, but I've gifted them all out. So really, for hafted points or hafted scraper points, these three are my only personal finds that I have left. This one here's a little thin Calf Creek that I found in the creek. But if the focus would come in real good, you'd be able to see that the tip appears like it had an impact break at one time, and then they reworked it over. And we have some hafted scraper points around here, but not like you guys do in Ohio and Kentucky. There was some big difference in the environment from here to there for different things they use. Sorry about that color change. I don't know why my camera does that, but this one here is from Rockhead, Ohio. And it reminds me a lot of them. I mean, they find a lot of them out there in Ohio like this and in Kentucky like this, but they always have these real steep bevels. And some of these points I've noticed will have a polish on them, but it's not like they all have some serious polish on them, not like other tools. So it really leaves you curious as to what they used them for. And like some little thumb scrapers I have. This one's all uniface on this back side. Got a hole left perfectly for the thumb, but she's niched all the way around. And this is one of the biggest thumb scrapers I've ever seen or ever found. A lot of outer core left to it. I just knocked a big hole in it. It fits perfect in your hand and got a nice little cut edge on it. And just full of patina. It was a nice field find. Then I got this little turtleback scraper. Thought I'd throw this in there, because this is a tool besides the adze we find a lot of here. Are these little turtleback scrapers. Some of them will have some heavy polish and some of them won't. Now we'll get to some of the flake knives that have been found. This one here comes from the little sea of dirt. Boy, and if you can tell, I worked a heck of an edge on this side. It's got this little end broke off, but it's like they made a big thinning strike or flute channel right in the center of it there. It's pretty much all uniface on this side. But the flaking that goes down this side is just, it's some nice flaking, unreal. This is one of the first flake knives I ever picked up. Found this on like maybe one of my second creek hunts where I actually, ever found something. I had hunted 5 hours that day before I finally stepped onto a gravel bar, and this had it in front of it. And it's had a little creek damage to it, but down this side here, they had heavily micro-notched. And if you can tell from here to there, they used it so much, they worn it down a 1/16 to a 32nd of an inch. Worn it away. And then it looks just like a dang butter knife. And on this side, all the little flaking notches were like done bifacial. There'd be a notch here, and the next notch would be over here, and the next notch would be here, then the next notch would be there, and there's like 2 little notches there, then a notch there. They just kept skipping back and forth. But if I have any paleo tools, this definitely here fits the description of them. Along with this one here. This one here I dug up in the first shelter I ever dug. And I may have to get it up to the light so you can hopefully see the little bitty micro notches that go down both sides of this thing, but especially down this straight side. I've tried to count them as to what there is per inch, and it's like 50 something inside of it per inch. And this came from below a layer where I dug up a Dalton knife, and a tip of a Dalton was right underneath that knife. And then about another 4 inches down, I found a stack of tools. I couldn't find the other tools. I got them boxed up somewhere. But it's some awesome material. It didn't have all that brown to it though. That's all patina from the wet dirt in the cave that it laid in. Then I have this little blade here, and I pulled this one out because we find so many of these along with our bird points. As if they're little bird point preforms that didn't turn out right, they just never finished, or if it was some type of little blade made to be worked just like it is. Let's see, I gotta pause a second. I gotta freshen my coffee. Okay, we're back. Got some fresh coffee. 2 o'clock, still drinking coffee. It was one of those 2-pot kind of mornings. Then over this way, I have some gifted tools. Here's an awesome little scraping knife or blade, some kind of little tool. It's unifaced right in the middle, but then all the edges have been worked. This side's been worked over pretty good. Awesome little Colorado find made out of agate from our great knife making buddy. And this was another little blade that he sent me. Bunch of outer core on it right there, but has some good flaking. Taking some of that off, and heavily flaked on this side. And then here's a little micro blade from Bevel Blade. Come on, focus. I can get all that other stuff out of the background, I guess. Get it to focus right. And I guess they find a lot of these out in Ohio. Now this side doesn't have as many, but this thing is just filled with little bitty micro notches all the way across there. and I can't remember what site it was that I read it on, but it's some number around 46 or over, maybe a number or two under, that if there's so many notches per inch, it makes it paleo, because they've dug up tools like that out of paleo campsites. And all their micro notches are so much over an inch. And then when it comes to other flake tools, like this one here I have from Rick Jitsu, but this one has some serious edge work down it. I haven't tried counting the notches in this yet. And it has just some notching over in here, and then the rest is just all flake. Killer flake knife made out of Burlington. And I have this little blade here made from Rocky Tops. Not made, but found by Rocky Tops. It has some serious edge work going on this thing. Little piece of outer core left. Then here's another little point, or a little like scraper tool that he sent me. Very cool. And then here's a little scraper made from a flake, but it's one of them famous Kentucky thumb scrapers. I mean, the notches on these things, the flaking they do is just unreal. Perfect little flakes all the way around it. Then I have this little thumb scraper here. This is from Mr. Rick Jitsu. Found up in his area. Hope the color and all the flaking's coming out right on this. I tried to find a white towel or a red towel that would work good, but green was the best I could come up with. Then I have this thumb scraper here out of Arkansas. This is from Excel 430. Killer little piece. And I have this little flake knife here from Ohio. This is from a buddy, Eagle-Eyed Joe, Joseph Dustin. This side here is just heavily worked. Little bitty notches all the way around it. Then this side in here, right here, has a bunch of little bitty notching. And the notches on this come all the way around this little tip. And then right there it kind of becomes more uniface, with a couple little licks taken off of it right there. Then up here we got the drill section. That little drill I found yesterday. And Flint's ball, he could be right, but by the way it broke, it looks like it had something else broken off of it. Or it could have been something that was broke like that. Then they decided to turn a drill bit out of it. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to half something like that into a stick, or even just hold in your hand for drilling. The tip's there, but boy, you can sure feel the wear on it. Really feel the wear on it. And you guys over in Tennessee, and I've seen these found in Georgia and some in Alabama and Kentucky. You guys, this is from Billy the TN Relic Hunter with some stuff he sent me. And a lot of you guys call these little spikes. And I think these had something else, some other type of purpose than a drill. And if they're a drill, that's just some of the roughest drilling work I've ever seen. Most of our drills around here look like this, made out of some type of point and then made into a drill. And I've never found any kind of a drill with a base end, this little ear knocked out of it there, but it's got patine in it. Little Dixon drill I dug up and the first overhang I ever dug in. Got the big old thinning strike like they'll put in some of the finer Dixons that are made, even on both sides. Here's a Graham cave to a hemp hilt type drill I found in the creek. One of my first and best creek drills. The ear was off way before it ever hit the creek. But most of every one of the drills I found have always been made to be a drill, nothing more. This one has a little paddle bit on it. And I screened this one up with digging up a bunch of bird points one year. Some killer material in it. Just love that red. Then y'all seen me find this drill here recently. Dug up on the Smetleyville site. Made from a little Wetley. Got a bunch of translucency to it. That light don't do it justice in here, that's for sure. It's kind of raining outside. I already tried to do this outside, but here's a sharpened up rice. I'm pretty sure they were forming into the best drill they could make out of it. And this is out of some type of chert, which most of our finds in Miller County are 99% or 90% mosaic. We do get a lot of chert down here, but most of all our stuff is mosaic. Here's a drill from Kentucky, from my buddy Mike Kurt, with some other stuff he gifted me. But you could tell they were using this drill for some hard work here. So look at the impact break that come off that tip. That's about an inch long all on itself. Pretty close. Then back here I got a bunch of broken drills. So in here is some type of a point, probably a Hopewell type point, made into a drill. Some would call it an effigy drill, just because it kind of has that winged look to it. I think it's just a point is all. Here's another broken drill I had, made from a point. A lot of our drills will be made from points, but you'll find ones like this here. So it's particularly made to be a drill. Just has a paddle end on it. And this end here shows no sign of use whatsoever. Here's some other, oops, should have been like a pencil style drill, made to just be nothing but a drill. Then we have this little broken pencil style drill, which this may have been something else, a hairpin, a nose piece. Devin has my killer nose piece. He's holding on to it for me for a while. Another drill I found. This come from the creek, but still no use wear at this end whatsoever. I mean, it has that little bit of polisher, but that's from the creek, but all that's just as sharp as can be. And then Terry even has a little bitty drill like this. It's like they just took some broken piece or some little piece of flint and worked it completely into a drill. And I don't think it's broke. I think it's made exactly the way you see it. It was made with this little end on it like that. You can tell just by how it's sharpened up, especially down this side. Right here is just all like outer core, and then they start the sharpening of it up to it there. But I mean, if you needed a little drill for something, right there'd fit in a perfect little stick or bone handle pretty good. And for most part, I guess that's about everything. Except I was going to throw this here in. There's a really thin blade I have, which blades were still stone tools. But I was having a little discussion with Go Kick Rocks. If you haven't subbed to him yet, you should. He puts out some cool videos, finds some good stuff. But this is a super thin blade, and I used to think that it was an Adena blade. Except there's a spot on this blade that has a real head scratcher to me. You can see how the original blade edge was. All right there's all original edge work. And then we get to a few little creak dings in it. But there was no, this part of the blade right here has this little flat spot, if you can see that. And it feels like it has wear, but usually things you find like that have that kind of wear will have the edges worn on it a little bit too. And they're not. They're just as square as can be. So it's kind of like something may have got knocked off, because I just don't understand how the blade would have come here and then came out more for them to wear it down to that little flat spot. And then the flaking on it just looks much nicer than any Adena flaking that I've ever seen on an Adena blade. I got quite a few different kinds of Adena blades, and the flaking is nowhere near the same on them. But that's just a little thought. Just thought I'd show my flake knives and my little tools and blunted points. And hope everybody's having a great weekend. We're getting a little rain here today, so definitely going to be some hunting coming up. But hoping to be doing a couple hours of digging this weekend, tomorrow, and a little bit Monday. We'll just have to see how things go. But hope everybody's having a stellar weekend. I'll finish my coffee and make me a late brunch and work on getting this up for Alabama Headhunter. I think it's been a great discussion. Lane brought in some great aspects to it. And just want to say thanks for everybody. Thanks for always coming along and enjoying my vids. Thanks for leaving comments. I really appreciate that. Some of you know I get back to comments when I can, and sometimes videos and comments get completely lost. But I can never say thank you guys enough for all the comments you always leave. I have to look back at my videos to see who I gifted them other half to at least to, but they were pretty nice. We just don't find a lot of that stuff. So that makes me so curious what was so different from our environment to you guys on the other side of the Mississippi River, where they would break a point and turn it into a steep beveled blunt like this. To me, that seems like that'd be a wood shaver. And just like an adze, I mean, that is the same bit way that an adze is made, just like that. As to when most all our hafted points end up something like this. Big obtruse tips. Even the Etleys that I gifted away that were hafted down had great big obtruse tips to them. Well, we'll get off here. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Like I said, we're going to try and get out. Like always, thanks for the comments. Don't want to make this video forever. And thanks to everyone who's always sent me some cool pieces. some things that we can't find here. It's so neat to see stuff from other parts of the country and material from other parts of the country. I just love this little thing right here. It's awesome. I mean, awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Remember, stone tools are forever.